Hello, this is Charles Longshore, and I am completing the three most important learning experiences to me in CIE 326 this semester. The most important thing to me this semester was the discussion surrounding what is the purpose of the social studies. Is the purpose the study of important men, such as presidents like Abraham Lincoln? Is it the function of the government and what roles we play and the purposes that we serve in a republic? Is it teaching students to use technology and research and find out things for their own? Is it teaching them to be participants in a global society? Well, the answer to that is yes, it is all of those things. But the social studies has to come with a distinct purpose as an educator. And the social studies in the past, and from my experiences, were not all very good. It was a lot of fact memorization, a lot of note-taking, but nothing of it was very purposeful. So we have to ask ourselves as educators, what is the purpose of what we are teaching? What is the objective? What is our learning target? And the social studies can accomplish a lot of things if we ask those questions before we teach them and we analyze exactly what we are doing. One of the most important things in answering this question came from the C3 framework from the National Council for Social Studies. As you can see from the different dimensions, we range up from very basic questions to some very informative critical thinking skills, and I really like Dimension 4 because we're looking at taking the information we have and coming to conclusions and critiquing them, and even taking informed action. So if we follow this framework, we're looking at creating a democratic, thought-provoking, critical thinking new group of citizens that are able to take action and think for themselves. The second most important thing that I've come across in this course was the emphasis and importance of teachers needing to read research. I have always been an adamant supporter of teachers reading research, and a lot of times when I say that, teachers think that it looks something like this and they're going to have to get real busy and be uncomfortable. But research is important because we see what the latest trends are, we see what works for others, we see what works for people who teaching similar situations very similar to what we are in. But we also need to learn how to read research and what lens to read it through. And I have found that I have a new respect and a new direction that I'm using in reading research, because depending on what lens it was created and looked through, you get very different results and can have very different applications. And finally, the third most important thing from this semester was the need for collaboration. We were never meant to do education alone. And many times I've heard teachers say, well, that's not how I do it, or that's not my way. And doing things my way is really no way of doing things in education. We need others to bounce ideas off of each other. We need to have conversations with people who read the same things that you read, and then their perspectives may be something you did not see. It's also a great time for trial and error and figuring out, well, what one teacher did, it worked, and maybe a different avenue of doing things may have worked for them and something for you to try. It doesn't have to be all done in person. A lot of times we do things in PLCs or team meetings, and the state of Alabama offers professional development online, and you can have discussions like we did in class. And I really enjoyed our discussions in class. Even though there weren't many of us in class, it was refreshing to have a different perspective on something that we had just all read at the same time. And by reading their comments, I get more out of it than I originally did. These are my resources that I used. All the images were from freeimages.com outside of the C3 framework, which came from the socialstudies.org website. Thank you. I enjoyed this semester, and this is Charles Longshore signing off.